Hello, and welcome back to High Functioning Redacted, as I got some interesting feedback on the name of my podcast this week. If you guys were listening to that beautiful intro song, we can send a big shout out to my friend Quinn. It's one of my good friends from high school. He works more in the art-related field. I think it was 2020. He actually did a podcast just to have something to do, like pretty much what I'm doing now. I don't want people thinking I'm trying to get famous from this. And the only reason I'm saying that is because my coworker today at work was like, Julie, I hope you make it out of here. And I just like burst out laughing. I was like, what? No, this is just for fun. But it made me laugh. She goes, no, I hope you do. I can't imagine anything funnier for someone to say to me when I said I was going to make a podcast. It was perfect timing. But this is really just like to have a creative outlet because I just like am not someone that likes to sit still. Like I will sit still, but I will be absorbed by the couch. And it's like, I work, I obviously have a full-time job, and I love my job, I really do, but it's tiring. Like, I'm not trying to work significantly more than I am, actually. As soon as I'm out of there, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? I'm clocked out and I'm out. Just because it's a great job, like, you know, there's a lot of rewarding things about it, but it's exhausting. I think that should be self-explanatory, but if you don't know, ask someone that you know that's a nurse. But, and it's like, yeah, it really wasn't even like a New Year's resolution, but just like moving into the apartment and moving out together. I feel like that was a bigger milestone for me and Joe than like, I don't know, the New Year. And so when we moved in together, because I feel like maybe I've just watched too many YouTube videos and TED Talks, but I try to actively work on a relationship, even when nothing is wrong, like an insane person. But it's just because I want a relationship to be as healthy as possible because I love Joe and I like dating him and I'd like to get married to him and not resent him in the future and then, I don't know, murder, suicide. Like, I don't know, is that so crazy to want to be happy? But when we moved in together, I was like, people say if you quit smoking or something, it's hard because like if you go back to your house and you go to all the same place that you always smoke, or I guess drinking might be a better example for this, but it's harder to break that addiction. And I feel like it's just, in the same vein, it's easier to start habits. And I actually say this to my patients all the time. I'm like, so this is literally pretty much what I say to them. It's like I write a script and I just keep it in my brain and then I just like go into robot mode when it's time to do the after visit summary when they're getting discharged. And I'll literally just be like, okay, so I know you've been here for a little bit, and if I were you, I'd be like, I'm gonna go home and eat my favorite food and get pizza and drink soda and do all the stuff that I like to do because it's like, I gotta treat myself. I was just in the hospital. And I'm not even joking, that like really is the mindset that I have. Like, that's how I would be if I was a patient. But I also know myself, and I'm the type of person that if this is a big life-changing habit, it's just better to start it as soon as you get home and just like really try to get into it, whether it's not adding salt to your food or measuring how much you're drinking or all this fun stuff that congestive heart failure patients have to do. That's just a good mindset for your day-to-day life. So if you haven't had that kind of mindset before, I guess maybe try it out. Like if I wake up in the morning and there's something I really want to do, I was kind of talking about this last week or really like yesterday on the podcast because that's when I recorded it. If I'm super hungover and I get that burst of energy in the morning and I start fucking panicking about every single thing I have to do, it's like, okay, so why don't I just do it? Obviously, it's a different situation if you're so hungover growing up, but I'm like not in college anymore, so I try to not have that happen to me. Like I don't really drink that much like that anymore. You guys know what I'm talking about. So I'll get up, and whenever my friend sleeps over, she's always like, bro, you're honestly stressing me out. And I'm like, just please let me clean up. She's like, it's not even dirty in here. I understand what you're saying, but I just have this like sudden burst, like anxiety burst of energy in the morning, and like I just need to get this done. Anyways, I don't need to talk about things I've already talked about, which I'm sure I'm going to do multiple times on this podcast. In that same vein, yeah, if you leave the hospital, it's like, and you need to start making these big life changes, you might as well do it right when you leave or as soon as you can start, just to get it over with, because it's like, what's going to stop you from putting it back further and further and further? Obviously, New Year, it's the same idea, but I feel like for me, it's easier to do it when there's a bigger change than it just being the New Year, because for me, it's winter. Okay, yeah, it was just Christmas and now we're going to go skiing. That's not an insane change to me. You're usually still on break and stuff. I mean, obviously now I work. It was a big thing when we moved in together, and, you know, I wasn't always like queen of keeping my room super clean, and I know Joe definitely was not either. In his defense, he did travel for work. I just had way too much shit. So when we were moving in together, it was like, all right, these are the ground rules. This is what we're doing. And not like you're going to be in trouble if you don't do it. But you know what? Now that we're moving in together and we're doing this, like, let's try to get healthier habits and eating healthy and going to the gym and all this stuff. Because if you're not encouraging one another to do better and be better versions of yourself, then it's kind of like, what's the point in, you know, spending your life with someone? Sorry, not to get a little emotional on everyone here, but I guess that's my word of the day for people who want relationship advice. I don't know. But welcome back to the high functioning, as in ADHD, comma, redacted, because I've gotten a lot of interesting feedback going back to this on the name of the podcast. So I took some vacation time this week because it's summer and we have to request our vacation time like a really far time in advance. And for a few years, I thought we could only do a week. And then when I found out we could do more than a week, I was like, fuck yeah. And as in, like, this is the first year I've ever known that we could do this. But so I have 2 days off this week because me and Joe both were supposed to work for the whole weekend for his birthday. I don't really know what we're going to do because he did pick up some overtime and wasn't an argument. Only a little, because I was like, don't you want to hang out with me? You know, I'm not a clingy girlfriend, but it's like we live together and I never see you. But I was like, let's do something, because the weekend, the weather wasn't that good. So it's like, maybe let's like go out to dinner or something. But so I have some time off this week. And so because of that, I'm probably going to try to record some episodes of the podcast to like, when I'm really feeling it, because like, what if I'm busy one day or spend the day at the beach? And it's like, my goal for the summer is to post a weekly episode. So I want to do at least that. Maybe I'll post another one. Maybe this will be posted before this coming Sunday. I guess is Sunday going to be the day I release them? I don't really know. I haven't really thought about it that much. Because it's really just like something fun, you know? But I will say my brother, very nice, called me and he was giving me some feedback. And he did say, just because, you know, people are concerned about, I don't know, me getting in trouble because it references like smoking weed in the name of the podcast. And I was like, no, like it should be good, you know? But I'm like mostly going to be referring to it as high functioning anyways. If you've seen on my Instagram, which you may not have, and honestly, I kind of regret even mentioning this, I've edited some of the captions because it's like, I'm not writing this whole thing out, so it's like when I'm trying to be like, what is it, HFSF or whatever, I keep not doing it right and doing different combinations of the letters. I don't know. It's like, for some reason, I just don't even know it. But, like, I understand the issues with it, but it's also like, it's just not that serious, you know? It's all right. And he was like, no, I get it. But he did tell me I need to be more loud. He said, you can't be so quiet. And I was like, no, I do agree with that. It really was like, this is just a trial run. You know, it's my first time with this microphone. I'm probably significantly louder this time than I was last time. Part of that reason is because I don't have Joe sleeping in the room next door for the night shift. And I wasn't trying to be rude because it was the day after his birthday. In the future going forward, I will be loud while Joe is sleeping. No, I probably will. I am. Sometimes I tend to be kind of loud. But Joe did tell me I'm really not that loud until other people come around. He's like, when it's just me and you, you're not that loud. Or even like, just like me, him, and his friend, like, it's not really that loud. But as soon as like my sisters show up or like my friends show up, I'm like screaming. But maybe that's like the effect of growing up in a big family. So yeah, my brother called me. He gave me some good feedback. Another thing was the white noise. I'm going to try to figure that out. So I'm hot all the time, so I always have the AC on, but I turn the fan off on it. Like, it's just off right now. And I'm hoping that will get rid of some of the white noise, that and me being louder. Luckily, no one's being super loud in my building right now. They can be, though. So in the future, if you hear background noise, it could be my loud neighbors. Honestly, though, I will say, like, you don't really hear that many people here. Well, not anymore. I guess, okay, so... Well, there's a little bit of tea, and I actually can get into this, and that's actually might be a pretty good thing to talk about on the podcast. The reason I'm saying it kind of used to be really loud neighbors is because luckily I only have a neighbor on one side of me because the other side's the elevator. You can't hear them. And the neighbor in front of me, I can't really hear. Well, multiple times. I've heard them get in fights, and I'm sure they've heard me and Joe fight, but we don't really fight anymore. I know that sounds like a lie, especially if you know us, but I mean, there's really not much to fight about. Keep the apartment clean, which makes me happy. And then I am nice to Joe, and that makes everybody happy. No, it's obviously more than that, but he's not traveling or anything. We don't really have to coordinate our schedules as much. So it's like pretty chill. It's pretty chill, you know, and we don't live with our parents. And I love my parents, but we stress each other out. It's better when we have a little bit of space. The neighbors across the hall, they have like this little dog or something. Actually, one time I almost ran to the apartment. I came out of work and I was like, oogie boogie, like, hi dog. I don't know whatever the hell you say to a dog. And It was cute. It was just like a little thing. But sometimes it scratches on their door, and sometimes it is kind of annoying because it'll be like, I don't know. It's probably just because I'm home consecutive days and I'll hear it scratching on the door every time someone walks by, and I'm like, shh. Like, I'm trying to chill. It honestly doesn't really bother me unless I'm like sick or something or have like a headache, but that's not really that often. I don't really care that much. I'll just like listen to music or something. My upstairs neighbor, they have since moved out very recently. Thank God. Unfortunately, on a day that we were both off, we were cursed with about 6 hours of them replacing the floors. I was like, Joe, we need to go somewhere. And he was like, I'm just so tired. And like, I don't blame him. He'd been working like 7 days in a row and it was like 90 degrees outside. But oh boy, did I have a headache that day. I was like, holy crap. I'm like, shut up. But the thing is, it was almost like the grand finale. Because the people that lived there before, I used to refer to them as the giants that lived upstairs. These people, oh my God. I thought they had a 2-bedroom for so long because it was so damn loud up there. It was like, holy shit. These people, it could be 6 o'clock in the morning. They woke me up at 6 o'clock one time. So Joe usually works 6 to 6, and like, I usually will do 7 to 7 if I'm working, but this day I wasn't. And that morning, I can't remember if Joe came home from work at 6 or if he was leaving for work at like 5:30. It was some time in that time frame. But he said he came in the room to, whether it was like to say good morning or to say good night or whatever it was, or say goodbye. The neighbors upstairs were being so loud. And it was crazy early in the morning. And he said, you were literally like not even awake. And he's like, I opened the door and I was like, said like, hi, Julie, or whatever. And you like lifted your hand up like a gun and pretended to shoot at the ceiling. And I remember that. That's how I felt in the moment. It was very frustrating, but it's a good example of how frustrating that would be. And like sometimes it'd go till 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes it wouldn't be as bad. Like the week of Christmas and the week after, although as you'll hear in my next thing about the downstairs neighbors, the week of Christmas was a little bit annoying for another reason, but they weren't really there. But then I swear to God, these motherfuckers got a basketball or something, and they were fucking and it was like, holy shit, can you guys stop? Especially because Joe works the night shift. He does both, but it's just like, oh my God, let the man sleep. And I think they had loud animals or like a big fat baby. I don't know, but they were beyond loud. And when we found out they were moving out, we were like, yippee! So we're pretty happy. Sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. That being said, I am a little bit afraid of what's to come. Hopefully it's someone more chill. I was just saying to Joe, though, it's not that I'm not walking around the apartment, but I would say if I'm home at the apartment for the day, like, yeah, maybe if I'm cleaning for a couple hours, I might be making more noise. But I don't know, I'll have like socks on or slippers on. Like they must have not had any rugs up there. And then it's at the same time, I just don't walk around that much. Like, these people, they're walking and jumping all day, every day. That's why it's like, maybe there was a baby, one of those things that wheel around that it like can jump around it. I don't know. Maybe the reason we know they had a baby, I sound like I had cameras in their fucking apartment. The reason we know they had a baby is because you can see from the window outside that they had like, those games you'd play in like, well, I used to play in like the pediatric waiting room. It's like a bunch of like metal wires. You can move little beads up and down it. And it's like, one of them will be like up, down, and one will be like a spiral. And one will be like straight. It's, yeah, I'm sure you got the vision. But they had like that stuff in their window. So you're like, okay, they must have a really little kid. So going on to the final neighbor, which is the downstairs neighbor. This is a story that's a little bit longer. But I only have time to fill. Because I was going to talk about the Tonys, but my brother was like, yeah, I'm not really going to be interested in that. And I don't blame him. It's really like, people don't need to listen to this. I'm not going to hold you at gunpoint, But it's just something that's just like talking about different things. And that's why I'm saying, like, if people want to hear things, they want me to talk about different things or gear the podcast in one direction or another, like, let me know, But I did see some of the outfits from the Tonys. I will say Cola Scola, happy that they won, Best Actor for Oh Mary. That's awesome. I heard it was great. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's really great. And I wish them only the best. Like, that's awesome. Great show. The outfit, it was great. The Bernadette Peters reference, everything. It's really just a personal thing for me. It's like, if you're just going to be wearing a dress like that, I don't want to see the hairy chest. I would like you to be shaved. Like, I know that might sound crazy, but that's how I felt. And if you guys don't know about any of this, then you're really not being a good ally during Pride Month. And you should think about that, But anyways, moving on. I guess this will be a little bit of a better story and a little bit more neutral for my audiences. So the downstairs neighbor drama begins shortly after me and Joe moved in here. We moved in like beginning of October, end of September, and then this probably first started happening end of November. So they kept coming up, or actually it might have been happening in October. They kept coming up to the apartment, the maintenance people, and being like, hello, people downstairs in the downstairs apartment are saying that they have a leak. They came so many times. And if you're going to keep coming, like, at least let us know, because again, Joe works both day and night shift. It's also just like rude. And it's like the holiday time. I don't want you here every day. Like, we pay a lot of money for this apartment and we just moved in. It's like, stop coming over every day. I feel like I have like a babysitter. But these people are over a lot. They're looking behind the washing machine. They're looking at the dishwasher. They're looking at every single thing. They're looking at the shower. And then they end up cutting a hole in the shower wall, or like in the wall above the shower. I'm like, can we even shower in here? Is that just going to get mold in the wall? Because I guess it's kind of above my pay grade for knowing about plumbing things. But I guess there was like some pipe in the wall that had like, I want to say expansion joint on it. And it like had broken. And so it was like sewage water leaking down into the apartment below us to ceiling. Luckily, it was not affecting ours at all or anything, but I'm like, that is disgusting. But they fixed that. They fixed it. So come a few weeks later, I'm not even fucking kidding you. I almost lost it on these people. It's like Christmas Eve and these people are coming over and they're like, oh, you know, the people in the apartment below, whatever, yada, 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 have been having this issue. And it's like, look, you've been having people come in here. They already did this like a month ago. And now you're having people come in here again. And they keep coming in every day, randomly, unannounced. Sometimes they're coming because they're like, oh, well, it's an emergency. It's like, so the issue on Christmas Eve and an issue at another time is like, oh, it's an emergency. And the thing is that it's not an emergency. And the reason we know it's not an emergency is because the maintenance people told us that. The reason the building considers it an emergency is because it's a water leak. But the reason the maintenance people don't consider it an emergency is because obviously they've seen it and they know, but it's an old water stain. And it's been there. And so these guys were coming in for weeks. It was a few weeks later, probably a month after at least, we had the whole hole in the wall situation. So it seems like it was fixed. And we were like, thank God, that was kind of annoying, but at least that's dealt with. Oh my God, Joe is so mad. I'm just like laughing, remembering this. So then they start coming back like random days, like the week of Christmas. And then Christmas Eve, they fucking come in and they're like, oh, well, you know, it's emergency. It took everything not to be like, get the fuck out of my apartment. Like, Santa's coming. You know, I was trying to be on the nice list, you know. We just were like, look. It's 10 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Eve. We are showering. I had to work Christmas Day. And we were like, come back on Christmas Day. Neither of us are going to be here. You know, I'm going to be working and Joe's going to be with his family. But we were going to my family's house to celebrate Christmas. And it's like, get out of here. You're not doing that right now. I need to shower. And I'm doing my makeup. And I'm already on a time crunch. So I'm a little bit of a mood. No, I'm kidding. Allegedly, I was in a bit of a mood. And, no, I love Christmas. I was actually hyped. For all the Christmas lovers out there, I raise my fist to you in solidarity. I actually just love every holiday. It's not really a Christmas thing. I love holidays. But that's besides the point. So all this had happened and everything. And then they did come a couple days after Christmas a few times again. And one of the times they came in while Joe was sleeping, and the guy walks into the apartment and Joe heard someone knocking on the door and he was like, what the hell? So it woke him up. So he's sleeping in the middle of the day. Joe's like in his boxers. And the guy comes to the apartment. He's like, hello, anyone in here? Actually, Joe walks out and he's like, dude, what? And he's like, oh, sorry. And he's like, well, there's an emergency downstairs. And Joe was like, well, I know it's not, because you and the other guys that are working this, we know this has been going on for weeks. Like, it's obviously not emergent. I work the night shift. It's kind of bullshit. You guys come in so often. They were coming in an obnoxious amount. I'm not even exaggerating. And although I sometimes do exaggerate, but this wasn't an exaggeration. They were coming in very, very frequently. It was very annoying. And Joe was just like, I need more of a notice. Like, you can't come in and wake me up and start working on things. Like, I work a night shift and a day shift. Like, you want me to pay my rent? You can't be coming in unannounced like this. If it's a real emergency, you can come in, but not for this shit that's been happening. And so now they call us and let us know. So then it stopped happening for a little bit, a couple months. And we're like, that must have been fixed, whatever. So what was this, like 2 weeks ago or something? I get a phone call at work, and I'm like, who the hell is this? I'm like thinking, is Joe at Market Basket right now? Like, that's the only time I really get a phone call at work, or like my doctor's office being like, in 2 weeks, you have an appointment at 9:15 in the morning with this provider. Like, do you want to confirm? Look, if I haven't canceled the appointment yet, I'll be there. It's not that serious. Like, stop calling me to confirm. I get the reminders in the app, and I get text messages. Like, you don't need to call me and fill out my voice message. But you know what? No shade to the people that are doing that. I know they're required to or whatever. But it is annoying. Then I look and I'm like, oh my God, I think this is my building. So I text Joe because he was home, and I was like, hey, can you just call the office? I was just in the middle of doing something. So he was like, yeah, sure. So he calls them, and because I was like, I think they want to come in the apartment. Like, just let them know if they can or not. Like, I don't know what you're doing. And he was like, all right, whatever. They're coming in for a water leak in the downstairs apartment, and they're trying to say that it's emergent again. But the maintenance people are like, it's not emergent. But that's what the landlord people or the manager or whatever the hell they're called said on the phone when they called me. Because I could, you know how like Siri will like type out what the voice message says to you. It was saying like, emergency thing, and I was like, Joe, it's about that fucking water leak again. This is unbelievable. Like, it better be a new water leak. That guy better be standing in his flood pants if they're gonna be coming in here again for the same thing. We've lived here for like 9 months or 8 or 9 months now. I don't even know, but the whole thing is just so fucking crazy. And so the guys come in, and this is what the story is. So I guess the guy that lives downstairs is a super drinker. And okay, other things about him is that usually it's on the weekend, but sometimes it's at like Friday at 10 a.m. It has been on other times, inappropriate times, just randomly. And sometimes it'll happen like a bunch in a row, and then sometimes it won't happen for weeks. But he'll play music. We actually thought he moved out. He'll play music obnoxiously loud. Like, I've never heard anyone in this building be so loud. I don't think I even own a speaker that could be that loud. It like shakes the whole fucking apartment. And it's like, dude, like, this is obnoxious. And like, even if you were gonna stomp like in Friends, like to get them to like shut up, like, I don't even think he would hear you. So me and Joe, being silly, when we first moved in, this had happened, and we were like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, is it the guy next to us? Actually, no one was living there at the time, so it was not them. We were like, is the person below us? It can't be the person below us. Like, that is so loud. This is crazy. The guy across from us, and it wasn't. We're like, is it the people above us that are already loud? No. So I was like, I don't know if it is the guy below us. I think it's like maybe the guy below us, but next to him. We went downstairs to look, and I walk by the door, and I go super loud. I'm like, my God, if you're going to play music this fucking loud, you should at least play something good. Or I said something like that, or I said something like, oh my God, this guy's music is fucking obnoxiously loud, or something. Something that was like, buddy, like, this is fucking ridiculous. Because it was. And we were watching some movie, and we were like, we were trying to get into it. Like, I don't know. It was more of a serious, I don't even remember what it was, but it was more of a serious film. And we were like, oh, you know what it was? It was Gladiator 2. I'm like, I'm trying to watch these shirtless men get in a fight. Turn the fucking music off. I'm playing. But it was a good movie. I do love Gladiator, probably the original one, but I'm not getting into it. Is this going to be a film podcast? It could be, but I got to finish the story. I can't get into that right now. The Gladiator. It's like, first I get into Gladiator 1 versus Gladiator 2, and next thing you know, it's going to be Top Gun versus Maverick. I can't get into this. No men are going to want to listen to this podcast. Not that I would really care, but still. We're trying to get back to our movie, so I'm trying to tell this guy to shut the fuck up. So as soon as I say that, and I'm continuing to walk down the hallway, because it's like, I would like to have my voice lead away, and then I'll run back. So if the guy, for some reason, looked out the door, he wouldn't see me, because that hallway is way longer to the other staircase. Like, I don't think I'd be as fast. So I say that, walk by. I'm like, he probably didn't even hear me, though, because the music is so loud. And I walk past the door, like, I don't know, another, like, couple feet, and the music shuts off. And then Joe fucking books it up the stairs, like turns around and books it up the stairs to the closer staircase. And he just was like, leaving my ass for dead. He's like, girl, you got this. You put yourself in this position. I didn't tell you to say anything. So then I was like, holy shit, I got to catch Joe. So then I run after Joe. And as soon as I like turn around the corner to get up the stairs, thank God I was already around the corner. We heard the guy's like door open and close, and then he locked the door and he left the apartment. And we were like, oh my God, do you think he heard us? I was scared, and my heart did beat out of my chest. So that loving story about that guy, and then about how he loves to listen to his music at a very tolerable volume, and the whole leak thing. So the maintenance people are finally here. This is like 2 weeks ago, for something that has been going on for 6 months. And Joe's talking to them, and they were like, yeah, so the guy downstairs is like a super big alcoholic. And I wish Joe was home, because he would be able to tell this story a little bit more concisely. And he was like, I guess the guy will get like super fucking drunk when they're in there working on the apartment. And like, I don't know if he like physically attacks them, but he like is super fucking rude to them and is super drunk and like yells at them and shit. And I do think that he like tried to fight them one time or something. Because of that, they keep coming to my apartment, because they're like, it's not safe for us to work down there. But it's the same leak. But then they stopped coming because the guy would never let them in the apartment. And they were like, well, it's not in the apartment upstairs, so it's like, I don't know what you want. So then they stopped like coming for that, because he kept submitting the same issue over and over again. But then he also like never let them fix it or something. And so a few months later, I guess he submits it again, or maybe they just were like, I guess we have to go, because maybe he submitted as a new claim. And it was the same water stain, they said. But he was super drunk, so they were like, we can't even work down there. So they came up to our apartment, and it's like, I do feel bad for the maintenance people. They shouldn't have to work under those conditions. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. They should just evict that guy if he's that much of a nightmare and that much of a pain. It'd be one thing if he was doing that by himself, but to get these people involved and to be rude and harass them when they work for the people that own the... I don't know. It's just rude and disrespectful to me. But why is that me and Joe's problem again? Because you've come into our apartment now 10 to 15 times, sometimes for less amount of time than others, And you've only done one thing, which you said fix the problem, and you keep coming and there's still no problem up here. You ever think that you just gotta, I don't know, fix the damage downstairs and tell the guy to fuck off, like, or evict him and then fix the apartment? I don't know. It's just crazy because it's just like, it's not my problem, but it is like, at least we have a little apartment lore. There's not really a lot of lore. Well, there's one lady that lives here that has one arm. She's actually really nice. I've maybe talked to her a couple times, but then at the same time, she's always calling Joe Poppy and shit. And it's like, I might have to beat this bitch up. I'm totally kidding. Even with one arm, I think she could totally kick my ass. She's pretty strong. But she has this boyfriend. I don't know if he lives here or what. I mean, I think it's her boyfriend. I've created this story in my head, me and Joe, when we were looking out the window at everybody walking by the building and driving by. And he has this loud ass motorcycle, like so loud you can hear it from the causeway from my building. Like it is just so loud. And that's a pretty significant distance, even though it's not that far. But to be able to hear it that clearly, and it's like as if it's 2 feet away from you. And he'll pull up to the building and she hops on the back. I already, maybe I'm just a pussy, but I already am a little hesitant around motorcycles. Like, I don't want to lose all the skin on my body, you know? But if I only had one arm, I wouldn't be getting on a fucking motorcycle. Like, what if your arm slipped? What if something happened? You know? I'm more worried about it than this lady is. So yeah, there could be a little bit of background noise here and there. I'm going to go with 2 anonymous people very close to me that did not want to be mentioned on the pod, which is like, whatever, you don't have to be. You just don't have to be rude about it. Especially because one of these people, I'm going to call them, we're going to go with Mr. T. Mr. T. Mr. T is the one that gave me this idea for the podcast and has mentioned this idea to me multiple times. And people have said stuff to me and it was like, you know what? Like, I might as well. It's like something to do that's productive, creative. It's not just working out. And oh my God, I finally remembered what it was that I was talking about in the beginning. Depending on the way that this gets edited, just so you guys know, I started this podcast, I had this banger intro, but then it's like, you know, I get sidetracked. And I literally forgot. I had this whole point and it had this perfect wraparound, but it's like I can write this whole paper out in midair with my speaking, but if I don't remember how it starts, I can't write the fucking conclusion, essentially. And that's what happened to me. But now I actually am getting back to that. So the whole reason I even went on that big long tangent about starting new habits and everything else is because I was like, people have said stuff to me about starting podcasts and doing stuff. And it's like, I used to do the morning announcements in high school, which were like a TV show kind of, but it was like web stream is the thing I'm looking for. And you'd like watch it in homeroom. And obviously I was like the prettiest girl in the morning announcements. No tea, no shade. I was also like the oldest girl in the morning announcements my senior year. That's the only year I did it. I kind of wish I did it sooner, but you had to, well, I guess you didn't have to be in the class to be in the morning announcements, but it's like if you weren't in the class, then it was just like going to give extra work for yourself. And I was trying to get my beauty sleep, you know. But it was just something fun I did senior year because it was like, you know what? It's creative, it's fun, it's productive, it's a little something different. Kind of similar idea with this. With that, though, the class is like you wrote for the local paper. And I used to do theater and stuff like this. Like, it's kind of my wheelhouse. I talk to strangers all day at work, you know? It's not like that crazy. But a lot of people had told me about this. Like, my brother's best friend was like, you should do it. And then Mr. T was going on and on about it when I had seen them a couple weeks ago. And I was like, you know, and it seems like a lot of support. And I talked about it with Joe and I was like, you know what? I think it might kind of be a fun idea. Like, you know, not that I'm doing nothing. Actually, I think I do stuff. I've been trying to, but I need to save money. And not that this is going to be like a super money saver because I did buy a microphone for this because I don't think my MacBook Air is like crazy great audio quality. You don't have to pay any money to talk into your computer. So I just thought it'd be like a fun hobby that didn't cost any money. Like I've been working out and going to the gym. It's like I'll go to the beach and stuff, but it rains every weekend in New England. So if I'm not working, I would like to do something. I'd like to do something, you know? And like I do love crafting and stuff like that. No matter what my job is, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I gotta go to work. My job could literally be like, I'm Taylor Swift. And I would be like, ugh, I gotta clock in at the Eras Tour. You know what I'm saying? No, that would probably be a really great job. But even still, I'd be like, I don't want to go to work, you know, because I'm a baby. And it's like, if I don't have anything to every once in a while whine about, like I just need to get it out of my system and then I can move on with my life. You know, I just need to have something I can complain about that really doesn't cause any damage. Like that's something that's not a real problem. And then I can be like, okay, now I can appreciate the good things in life a little bit. Nobody wants to go to work. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to just like chill and like hang out with their friends and go to eat and like do fun things. Like go to concerts, go skiing, do whatever, go swimming. I don't know, whatever you guys do. And so but it's like when you're injured and like if you work in a hospital, you can't be like working if you have a broken foot. Like if you're standing all day, that's like crazy. But if you break your foot or you break your arm or something, you have to be out of work. You're out of work for like 8 weeks or 10. I think I was out of work for like 10 weeks. And like we do have short-term disability and stuff like that, at least, thank God. But that is a long time. And it's like you can't work out. I couldn't even go on a walk. Like I was going freaking nuts. Like, and for some reason I was like, well, I'm not doing anything, so I shouldn't take my Vyvanse and my Adderall. Yeah, I just had to pause for a moment for everyone to absorb how stupid that is. Like, I have really bad ADHD. Like, if I'm not taking my meds, like, I'm not like, oh, I can't do anything without my medication. And like, if you're like that, then that's fine. Like, you probably just have really bad ADHD. But it's like, if I'm not taking it, it's not that I can't do anything, but it's very hard to be productive and it's very hard to sit still. Like, I know it sounds crazy to say that, like, I literally take Adderall to calm down, but it's true. Like, that's just how my brain is wired. And it sounds backwards, but I don't know. If you've taken Adderall and you said it made me feel more normaler, then maybe you too have ADHD. Just something to think about, some food for thought. But I just was like, I need to do something. So I was doing a lot of crafting, and, you know, the thing about crafting is it's so fun. And you're like, oh my God, I have all this crafting stuff in my house. So it's like, I have it here. The problem is that it is expensive to get started. That's the only problem. Is like, if you don't have anything, you have to buy it all. And like, I have a ton of crafting stuff. I have a ton of it. And so me and Joe have talked about maybe getting a 2-bedroom apartment, so then I could bring some of that here, and have like a room that I could do like crafting stuff in. Just because I do have some stuff here. Like, I have construction paper and stuff. Obviously, I got to make a birthday card here and there. When I decorated my cabinets in Valentine's, like, see, I'm always doing crafts, but I can't bring it all. Like, there's just not enough room. It's at my parents' house. Thank them. But, it's like one day, like when I have a house and stuff, or like if I do a bigger apartment, I can bring it here. It'll be great. And it's something to do. But when I was building all of this is when my foot was broken a couple years ago. And I do kind of wish I had it sometimes, especially like, it's just something fun to do. And it's a hobby that's fun. It's relaxing, and you're doing something productive creatively. And I like feel like people are gonna like clown me for saying that so many times, but that's just like that's just how I feel. It's just the best way to describe what I feel like I get out of this. And it's a similar thing. But at that time, if anyone needs any crafting ideas, is I went to the thrift store. I think I went to Savers, I want to say, in Danvers by the oncology center and the Market Basket and stuff. And in the Weight Watchers I went to in high school with my mom, because I was like, I need to lose some weight. I really wasn't big enough to be going to Weight Watchers, and I was like 15, but the reason I went is just because then I would go to like have the routine, because I didn't go to the meetings because I was younger than everybody there by like 20 years, but I would go and I would weigh in every week, and then I would have to like track it. So it just made it more of a thing. So it made it almost more of like a fun thing in my mind than like I'm going to spiral out of control kind of thing, I guess you would say. Allegedly, but that's over there by that Savers. And when I went to the Savers a couple years ago when my foot was broken, I got some old vinyls, like record, like just, I wish I knew the name of the one that I actually used for mine. But there was like a John Denver one. I still have the Frank Sinatra one. There was a bunch of them, and it was a good idea. They're really not that expensive. You can really get a beat up one because it doesn't matter. And then I bought a bunch of like art magazines, because they have a ton of used magazines, National Geographics, all that stuff. I bought a bunch of them, and they're super cheap. And then I also bought like a package of someone had put in assorted like greeting cards and thank yous and stuff, but a lot of them had really beautiful photos on them. Once I bought them and I was using them for crafts, like I was like, these are so awesome, I love them. But then I did think like I kind of felt like I was taking that from someone who like maybe needed that more than me, you know? I do always feel that guilt when I go to a thrift store, but I'm also being sustainable. So it's like, I don't know, at least someone's buying it, and it's me, and I'm using it for something good. I had scrap paper and stuff, like newspapers, all sorts of stuff. I obviously have markers and paint and stuff, but, and glue. That's kind of the key ingredient, is the glue. And I found a theme for the album that I wanted. Maybe I'll put a picture of this on the Instagram. I tried to stick with it, and it's very like beauty, femininity, and, I just pretty much turned the record cover like a vinyl that was pretty, like the casing of it was very beat up. Like no one was really probably going to buy it. I mean, maybe someone would have. If someone wants the vinyl out of it, they can have it. I don't think I've ever even played it on my record player, but it's beautiful, and it's just like an interesting piece of art, and it's kind of like I made that, so it's kind of like a fun thing to have. It's interesting to talk about, you know. Just like a little something different. So if anyone's looking for a craft or something fun to do, that might be a cool idea. In the spirit of that, I got like a drawing notebook when I was on night shift, and I was trying to draw on it like at least a couple days a week, and like I have a bunch of cool things in there, and like shout out I Lie, Taylor's version, I'm waiting for that still, Taylor Swift, which I also mentioned on the last podcast. I have like this thing I did in there based on that. And I've always loved that song, and it's like it makes me think of Joe too, because he has green eyes. That's the perks of, you know what, me and Taylor Swift, we love this man with green eyes. No comment on Travis Kelce's eyes. I have no idea. But he wasn't in the picture at that point, okay? All of these things, it's just like Mr. T telling me to do this and stuff. I was thinking about it, I was telling Joan, it's like, it's productive, it's fun, it's something different. I can get my friends involved. It's something that I'll have, almost like a time capsule too. And I don't know, it's just kind of a fun thing to do. And it's like, I'll do it for the summer. And I kind of have to hold myself accountable. It's just like a goal, keep myself motivated to do something that's not related to work and not related to working out. Because those are really the only two things that I do that are like really more on a schedule, because my work schedule is all over the place. So it's harder to do things that are on a routine because your schedule is kind of all over the place, and I'm not great at making schedules and stuff. But I posted my first episode, and I talked to Joe, obviously before I posted the episode, and I'd gotten the microphone. He was like, you know what? He really is my biggest supporter, definitely. He was just like, you know, most people wouldn't even have the balls to buy the microphone. And like, I thought it was just like, you were just like kidding around. But he's like, you know, you've really like been taking some serious thought about this. And he was with me when I ChatGPT'd all the names. And he actually was like, I feel like I like that one. It gave me like 20 names. You know what? I'm going to actually read the names off. And if people really like some of these other names better, they can fucking tell me. Because some people like Mr. T and another unnamed person really gave me a lot of shit about the name of the podcast. And, you know, I thought they were going to be a little more supportive of me because we're tight, you could say. But I kind of had hurt feelings, you know, and I just like, you know, everyone else has been like, you know, hey, Julie, like, that's so fun. I'm excited. I want to be on it, or you should do this or that. And it's just because they know it's not that serious. It's just like a fun thing. And my friend from work, like I was saying, she was like, girl, I hope you make it out of here. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I hope so too. No, I'm not. I can't deal with the visibility of fame, I guess you would say. I would feel really awkward. So pretty much my first step, because I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to name this. And I wasn't really sure what to do. I just typed some different things into ChatGPT about myself and like kind of what I wanted the podcast to be and just a bunch of different things. It's literally like I was talking to a person. I don't know. You guys were right. It is useful for things like this, especially because I didn't want to be telling a lot of people that I was doing it before, because I was like, I guess I feel like I don't want to like pussy out. But this Mr. T character that had encouraged me to do this, I was like, Mr. T, I got this microphone. Mr. T was like, oh my God, stop, you're giving me so much anxiety. And I'm like, I love you, but you're crazy. Sorry for that little bit of a cutout. I finally found the lists. So these are the lists of some of the names, okay? These are the fun, punchy, and pop culture ready names. Hot takes and high standards. Vitals and vibes. 25 and vibin'. I'm not going to be 25 forever. I guess it's only for the summer, so I guess it doesn't matter. Nurse back to reality. Triage and tequila. I don't work in the emergency room. The after shift. See, I kind of like that, but like this podcast, it's not like a nursing focused podcast. I'll talk about things here and there, but that's not like the main focus of it. It's just literally anything is really the focus. It's just something to talk about, you know? Buzzed and unbothered. I'm not like buzzed all the time. I'm definitely not buzzed right now. Am I unbothered? I actually low-key might be a little bit too high-strung for being considered unbothered. Charting chaos, which is kind of interesting, but I don't know how chaotic this will be. Stoned cold truth. I'm like not... This is why I went with slightly faded. Like, as you can see, like, again, like, the point of this isn't a smoking weed specific podcast or a nurse specific podcast. It's just like, I'm a fun guy vibe. I mean, I'm not a guy, but you know what I'm saying. On call, off duty. I didn't want to do that one. I don't know. I just like, it didn't really stick with me. So then we have the feminine relatable. And this is where the one we settled on lies. Pretty blunt. I guess that's kind of a good one, but I don't know. Glass of sass. I don't know if I'm sassy. I can be sassy. I think I'm a little bit more of like a diva than someone that's like sassy, because I'm more of like kind of a cunt, if anything. If I'm being sassy, I guess I would say. Cosmo and complaints. I do love Cosmos, but maybe that's why I misread that. But I don't know if I'm going to be complaining all the time. Lip gloss and lost plots. That might work because I literally keep losing my train of thought. Then we have high functioning, slightly faded. Call me when you're high. I love that song. Or why'd you only call me when you're high? Cute but chaotic. And not that deep, babe. Maybe I should change it to not that deep, babe, because of the comments I've gotten about high functioning, slightly faded. Because it's really not that fucking deep. All right, deep-ish with a wink. I say all this, and then it's like, I changed the podcast name. No, I'm just kidding. Meds and musings. I don't know. Shift talk. Pop off, Julie. Admit one, in parentheses, to the ICU of life. The Julie experience. Could be that. I mean, I guess this really is the Julie experience, but I don't know. Code Pink podcast and paging reality. I do like some of these, and they are very clever, but again, it was really it's like ChatGPT can only know you so well. It's a fucking robot. It obviously is going to latch on the two things that can come up with like pretty creative names with, and which is obviously weed and nursing. But that's not the focus of this. And that's kind of just like, I just kind of wanted to get back to that because two people that I am related to were the only people that were like, I mean, this has only really been my 24 hours of fame. Things have never come at me so fast. Like, it's not, it's like not that it's fine. But they're the only people that didn't have anything positive to say. And it just was bothering me because I wouldn't be a hater like that. You know, I'd support you. Maybe they're not as high functioning as I am. Maybe they're more than a little bit faded, you know? And maybe that's why they're being so rude. Everyone's asking me, Julie, how do you feel now that you're famous? You know, how do you feel now that your podcast is really taking off? And, you know, this is really how I feel. And I'm going to play a clip, and I'm not trying to be like, I don't know, like broke ass. I don't have a soundboard or anything, but if any of you guys have seen Girls, you're going to know this clip right away. This is how I felt talking to my sisters today and yesterday.
Like, oh, let's make fun of the girl who took a risk and put herself out there creatively.
She was real for that. Marnie Michaels was real for that. That's how I felt. It's like, okay, so, all right, let's all gang up on the girl that, I don't know, want to, like, stuck herself out there and took a risk creatively and made this podcast. But I've been kind of making Joe watch Girls lately. I just have been putting it on as like a casual show for when we're trying to play that game Sneaky Sasquatch I was talking about on our phones, or like we're just like brain dead from being at work all day and we're tired. And it is a great show. Like I hate to say it. I mean, everyone has their feelings about Lena Dunham. If you don't, I don't know. Maybe you should have been online between like 2012 and 2018. I don't know. Like she's still relevant, but I mean, she's only relevant if you watch the show Girls. I don't really know what else she's... I guess she moved out of New York, which is the #1 recession indicator of all time. But it is a great show. And I guess the story is that she, like, pitched it... I want to say she pitched it on a napkin to the people at HBO. Am I confusing that with the J.K. Rowling thing? I don't know. I think she might have written on, like, a Dunkin' Donuts napkin or some shit. And she was kind of like, my friends aren't represented on TV, and, like, I'd like to see them. And so it's, like, obviously... the millennial, like, Sex in the City or whatever. But it's a good show. Adam Driver's in it. And, you know, I didn't get the hype about him. Well, I mean, in that Star Wars movie, he was, like, super shirtless. But I didn't get it. But it's, like, once you see him in a few things, especially in Girls where he's, like, a love interest. Thing is, like, I forgot about the show in that Scared Joe. Is these people are freaks. Like, they're freaky. And if you've seen the show, you're going to know what I'm talking about. And, like, there's a lot of good things about the show. There's crazy things about the show. But, like in one of the first episodes, one of the girls, like, smokes crack at a party. And it's, like, maybe I'm kind of a square, but I've, like, never been at a party that there's been, like, crack at that I've known about. But I also wouldn't have partaken in that. I mean, she didn't know, so in her defense. But I'm like, what the fuck? But I'm going to have my friend Jake on the podcast that lives in New York, so I guess I can ask him about that then. Have you been at a party where people are smoking fucking crack? He's like, it's not a party unless there is crack. So There are crazy things. It's a good show though, but it is just so out of pocket sometimes. It is so crazy. But it's definitely, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's good. I do want to talk about Addison Rae's new album, but I did kind of want to talk about a little bit this with Jake, because when we get to that, but that's for another day. So Addison Rae of TikTok fame, if you're not sure who that is, then maybe you should stop and wait for a second, because I need a bad bleep. Addison Rae, little shawty the baddest, and she got her ways, you know? If you don't know what I'm talking about, then maybe you're just not cool, you know? That was a big thing. And so Addison Rae, if you haven't listened to any of her music in the last year, you are living under a rock. But this is how I felt about Chappell Roan. And then Pink Pony Club, Pink Pony Club I'd been listening to for a few years, because Happy Pride, shout out my gay friends, introduced me, like Steven, introduced me to this song, like, I want to say like junior year of college. Oh my God. It was actually, it might have been pre-pandemic. No, I don't think it was. I think it was junior year of college. I think she wrote it during the pandemic. But it was so fucking good. And I love her. I love that song. I know people are going to not agree with this, but somebody I work with that doesn't work with me anymore, like they just have a different job, I saw them recently and they were saying to me, they were like, oh my God, like I mean this as a compliment, but every time I see Chappell Roan, I think like, oh my God, that's literally Ginger Julie. And I was like, oh my God, she is so beautiful. That is like one of the nicest things anyone's ever said to me. And she was like, no, I'm glad. She's like, I think she's beautiful. I'm like, I do too. I'm like, that is so nice. Like, oh, wow. But it was Red Wine Supernova was my number one song in 2023. And a lot of people were like, what song even is that? My best friend and my boyfriend were like, I've never heard this song. And I was like, you guys are lying, because you're the only two people I hang out with. And this was my number one song and it came out in like September. You know what I'm saying? But then 2024 was a good year for her. I love her, you know, shout out my girl. But in the same vein, if you don't know Diet Pepsi, the biggest song of 2024, right after Espresso, it's like, it's just so good. Addison Rae, she slayed the house boots down on that. Headphones On, obviously I love. It came out, I want to say right before we went to Mexico, and I was singing that song nonstop for days, and Joe literally was like, what song is that? Yes, the song you've been singing every single day for the last 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my God, it's Addison Rae, Headphones On. He was like, and I was like, why? And he was like, just because you sing it all the time. Like, I'm just wondering. Aquamarine. Sorry, I was just loading. High Fashion. Ooh, when she was on Von Dutch, we're doing a Brat Summer 2.0, just in case anybody didn't know. But when she was on the Von Dutch remix, I still need that Hello Goodbye remix. And when she dropped, it's still Brat, but it's even better because it's not the same. It's the same, but it's not. Or whatever. I literally commented on her post and said, I want to say it was in all caps. It might not have been, but for the sake of things, it was in all caps. I said, Mama, we need Harry on Hello Goodbye remix. Moment of silence for what I'm about to say. Preemptively. You know what happened shortly after that, though? Liam died from One Direction. Aw, you know, that was a really tough thing for me. I can't start getting into One Direction right now. That's for another day. Maybe I'll do a 15 Years of One Direction special edition podcast, so people who aren't interested in that don't have to listen to it. But it's fucking 13 hours long. It's like one D-Day all over again. But yeah, when Liam died, I was pretty upset. People were texting me as if it was like someone I knew personally. But my sisters did say, they were like, it did kind of feel like your friend died. Like, I feel like Julie's friend died. And I was like, girl, that's how I feel too. And obviously, parasocial relationships aside, I'm sure real people that knew these real people were more upset, like Harry and the other members of One Direction. So there were a lot of rumors at the time too that Harry was going to release music and stuff, and obviously anything like that probably got pushed back. And then I saw him in his little fucking short ass shorts a couple weeks ago in Germany or whatever. It was just so funny. And I'm like, he's a long distance running, but the shorts just kill me. And so I don't know. I still have hope for that. But Von Dutch featuring Addison Rae, when she's like, ah, like iconic when she screams. It was so good. And Addison, her new album just came out. So the original singles that came out last year into this year, Diet Pepsi, Aquamarine, High Fashion, and Headphones On. I think that was it. So people were saying, I saw people saying like every Addison Rae song has been a bop. If you don't know this album's going to be good, then like that's on you. It's going to be amazing. Hopefully they're all up to par. And honestly, no shade to her. Like, I didn't think that they were all going to be like as good as some of the singles because I'm like, these are so good, you know, like, but she really got a theme for this album and she fucking stuck with it. Like, it's an album. Like, I'm like, it's akin to Abbey Road by the Beatles, aka like obviously one of the best albums of all time. No, maybe not that much. I haven't listened to that many times. I'll let you know maybe when I make my final verdict on it. But like, it definitely is a very cohesive sound. And these original singles were released, and I saw like gay people online shading and being like, oh, but one was iconic. The other one was low-key a flop, but the gays don't want to give it up. And I'm like, what? And everyone was like, which one? Obviously, it wasn't Diet Pepsi. Obviously, it wasn't Headphones On. I mean, maybe people did think that, but not for me. It wasn't that one. It shouldn't have been high fashion. If people thought it was high fashion, then they just don't have taste. That song was lit. But I could see them thinking that 'cause it's a little different. But I do, and I loved Aquamarine. But unfortunately, I do think that might be the one they were talking about just because it was a little bit more like dreamlike. But I would say for the new album that just came out on Friday, I love New York. Money is Everything is really good. They're all really good. Fame is a Gun, iconic. They're all so good. But I'll listen to more, and if I have any more opinions, I can let you guys know. But Addison Rae, that's my sister, you know what I mean? We're the same age. And I'm happy for her. People were really clowning her, but you know, she best friended her way to the top with the whole Kourtney Kardashian thing. No. I guess the album's written like all by women though, so it's like pretty cool because if I'm anything, I'm a feminist. Before I'm a woman, I'm a feminist. Some obsessions I want to talk about this week. I'm obsessed with this intro and outro song that Quinn made for me. The Rem Beauty concealer, I love it. Steven tried to clown me one day when we went to Ulta, and I was like, no, bro, it's actually great concealer. Joe gave it to me for Christmas. Santa gave it to me for Christmas. And I love it. I have like super dark under eye bags, and it's great. It blends really great. It was totally worth it to get the concealer brush from them. Like, I feel like it made a big difference in the makeup application. I love it. I'm obsessed. And I've been for a little while. Then we have also Rem Beauty, the liquid eyeshadow. I actually have two of them. One is Siren and one is Fembot, and they're just like sparkly eyeshadows, but they stand a long time, and I love them. And people always ask me what I'm wearing, and that's what it is. My mom also got me this new Tarte lipstick at Ulta, and I don't know where it is. I'm going to have to find it to find the exact color of it, and I'll post on the Instagram or something. I'll get back to you on that. It's like a red. It's pretty, though. And then this was actually recommended to me by one of my coworkers, but the Randy's Black Label. You guys can look into that. I have a lot of dirty glasses at this apartment, and I use that to clean my glasses, essentially. Obviously, another obsession is Addison Rae's new album. I definitely love Renee Rapp's new song. I got a comment about listening to Renee Rapp. I do love her. I do like that new song a lot. It's very good. And I also was recommended to watch Abbott Elementary. I will say I've seen some episodes of Abbott Elementary. It's funny. Every time I watch clips, it's funny. It's just one of those shows I haven't gotten around to watching, but it's like one of those things. It's like, you know, it's on your list forever, even though it's like so popular. And it's like, you're like, I just feel like I'm never getting around to watching that. And then someone's like, you should watch it, and then it's like that's the thing that pushes you into it. I'm gonna have to watch it, especially now that I said it on the pod. So everyone might be asking, Julie, you have so many points at Sephora. You've been a Sephora member for so long, but you just listed 3 makeup items that are purchased at Ulta. And here's the reason, and I'm gonna have to post this on my account, I guess, my Instagram. There is almost no one I hate more in this world than Trump. I think actually there's no one. I think he is number one. I hate him. And if you don't agree with me, there's the door, you know. I hate that motherfucker. Why this is relevant to makeup, besides him having a terrible spray tan, and obviously his makeup artist fucking hates him, and so does everyone in his life. If they're not like, bro, fix your fucking tan, you look terrible. Like, that's real. Like, sometimes we need to tell our friends, lay off on the eyebrow tint, you know, maybe let's exfoliate before we do that next layer of self-tan. You know, there's things that you tell them, you're never going to say something to someone in a position that's going to make them feel embarrassed and insecure about themselves for the rest of the night. Obviously, if you're like, you have something in your teeth, just tell them. But like, if you're like, ooh, your spray tan looks like shit, maybe wait till they're in a position where they can fix that, okay? Don't be an asshole. But you should be telling your friends if things are going on. And Trump obviously doesn't have any real friends if he has that fucking orange ass tan, and many other reasons. There was this list. Honestly, I fact checked this list? No. Did I just accept it as fact? Unfortunately, yeah. I not really unfortunately, it just was kind of like, that's just what happened. Because when Trump was first president, the first couple weeks, I was reading a lot of stuff about everything else, and I had seen this list on somewhere, social media, that was companies that had donated a significant amount of money to Trump in his campaign. And I'm sorry, but it was stupid in 2016. It was stupid in 2020. And if you're still doing that, you are just like, I'm just going to go with evil person. But anyways, Sephora was on that list, and that was heartbreaking. And the problem is that I've recently re-looked at the list, and I was kind of upset because there's a couple places on there that I've been going because I kind of forgot they were on the list. But it's like, you know what? I've been taking my money to Ulta, who they have, you know, like they're not getting rid of DEI and shit. And like, I'm not a perfect person, like, but I have been trying not to go to Target and shit. It's like, if you're not going to treat your workers right, fuck you. Like, I'm a union worker. You think I'm not going to stand with the union, man? Obviously I am. I'm blue collar, bitch, technically, I guess you could say. And I don't know. It's just like, I want to try. But all the money I would be spending at Sephora, I've been spending at Ulta. And it's sad because like at the Linfield Mall, there's this, I wish I could remember what his name is. There's this gay guy that works there, and he's so awesome and he's so helpful at that Sephora, and I love him. And every time he's there, like, he's like my angel. Whenever I'm there and I need to get something, or in the past, whenever I would be there on times that I was specifically trying to find something new or whatever, he'd be there and he wouldn't be bothering me, you know. And I'd be like, excuse me, we know whatever. Can you help me find a lip mask or whatever? And he'd be like, yeah, sure. And he always showed me great products. And then one time I was there and I spent so much money that he gave me like a big goodie bag of like free samples of like shampoo and conditioner, like Fenty sunscreen, like the shampoo and conditioner was the like OUAI or something. I don't know how to say it. Tons of different kinds of makeup. I still have some of the samples. I should find them. But it was pretty dope. And I literally looked at him and I was like, I love you. Every time I'm here, you're such a big help to me. And this is just like the cherry on top, you know? Because it's like, you get fucking 5,000 rewards points and you get fucking 50 cents off. And it's like, holy shit, how much money did I have to spend to get that? A lot. Because it's not equivalent. It's not equidistant or whatever. It's like not like if you're spending that much money, you get that many points. It's just crazy. And so a couple weeks ago, it was supposed to be the Nurses Red Sox game. And it got canceled because it was legit a nor'easter. So a bunch of us went out to dinner or whatever. And then Joe went out with his friends. And he was like, oh, why don't you meet us out? Why don't you meet us out? And they're like, meet us out at the Village Tavern. And I'm like, you guys know I'm not allowed back there after I fell asleep. So when I worked on night shift, I know I briefly talked about this before, like, I just felt like shit all the time. I was never fucking sleeping or anything, and because of that, like, I would fall asleep all the time. There'd be times I'd hang out with my friends and I'd be like, I can't drive because I'm too tired. Like, I am just gonna fall asleep. And so that's why I don't do night shift anymore. And one night we went to actually, I think this happened twice, unfortunately, but one night we went to the Village Tavern, and I was sitting exhausted, dead. I want to say I'd worked the night before. And I'm like, Joe, can we go? Like, I'm tired. Like, let's call the Uber. Let's go home. In like I'm really sad and tired. I want to go home voice. And then Joe's like, he's like, hold on. Like, we're playing pool with this old man. They were playing pool with like a 60-year-old man or older. He looked really old. I don't know. I don't remember. But I remember thinking he was really old. And I don't know if they were playing with that guy's friend or what, but they were playing with like this old guy pool, Joe and all his friends. And so I'm sitting in the back room where you play pool, and I'm like, sitting with my hand on my head because I'm tired. And then all of a sudden, I'm being woken up by someone that says, hey, if you can't stay awake, you can't stay here. And I was like, chill. Like, I just worked the night shift. Like, I'm not too fucked up. I'm just exhausted. And he was like, great, that's good for you. If you're going to sleep, you can't stay here. And I'm like, I'm just waiting for my fucking boyfriend. I'm not leaving without him. Because it's like, they're not going to fucking yell at me like this. Are you kidding me? You're lucky I'm even in here. And so I don't really love going there, especially it's a really, really embarrassing when I got kicked out when I was with a bunch of people. But it's like, I was out past my bedtime. I had an expiration date on me. You know, that's what happens when you don't sleep that much. So Joe was like, meet me here. And I'm like, I just got back from dinner with my friends. Like, I guess I could Uber there. I'm not driving. The weather's terrible. And like, I had like, I don't know, like a strong drink at dinner. So I was like, I'm not driving. But I was like, I guess so. So I drink a Diet Coke. So I'm like, I need a little caffeine. So I'm like, ugh. So Joe like begs me to Uber there because he's like, my phone's dying. And I'm like, Joe, come on. Like, just come home. I'll call you an Uber. He's like, how am I going to call an Uber? And I'm like, I'll call you one. And then he's like, don't call me one right now. I want to leave at 11:45. I'm like, girl, 11:45? It's like 10:15 right now. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't want to stay up that late. I'm going to fall asleep. And he's like, so come. Like, my friends want you to come. My friends want you to come. So Joe's with two of his best friends and this other kid that they're friends with that I had met in the past, but like, always out like at the bar or something, like never something where like we were talking for a particular long time. Like I've met him like briefly. I've seen him around. I really don't know him. And so we're at the bar and Joe is looking right through me as I'm looking at him. And they're all sitting there playing pool in the room where I got kicked out and drinking Coors Light. Now, Julie, Coors Light's delicious. You know, what's your problem with Coors Light? It's cheap, you know. Here's my problem with Coors Light. And Joe knows this. And I was like, Joe, we already talked about this. Also, we're the only people in there. There's like another group of people who were like probably a little bit older than us that were playing at like the other pool table. We didn't know them though. But they were playing like Future and stuff really loud. And they were like, I don't know, having their white boy trap moments listening to that music. I don't know what the hell they were doing. And like Joe and his friends, as who I'm referring to, listening to the other group's music, they were like, hell yeah, I love this song. I'm like, you guys need to go home. I'm like, mix in a water, Mary. It's time to go home. And I'm like, Joe, you're not supposed to drink Coors Light. How many times do we have to go over this? And Joe's friends were like, why? Coors Light's delicious. And I was like, no. The problem is that Coors beer is a major supporter and donator for the modern Nazi party and going on saying all this stuff. And I was not kidding. And I look at their friend that I don't know as well, and he looks like he's about to burst out laughing. Joe's other friends that know me better, they like are laughing. They're like, yeah, okay, Julie, like, yeah, Coors beer, whatever, yeah, like, it's so good though. And this other kid, I look at him and I go, look, I know you don't know me that well, and I know that you probably think that I'm doing this ironically, but I'm actually very passionate about this. And they can all tell you, like, this is not the first time that I've given this speech before. But it's just a little PSA. So maybe I'll post that list on my Instagram, and then maybe you guys can fact check if these people actually are big sponsors of Trump, and hopefully TJ Maxx isn't actually on that list. Well, actually, I don't actually think TJ Maxx was on that list. Target was on that list, I think. I want to say Target was on that list. I know Wendy's, which was heartbreaking, you know, best breakfast and fast food. And Target, I know the issue with them is that they get rid of DEI. You know, I have to stand with the working man, like I was saying. And then, but Marshall's and Home Goods was on there, but I don't think TJ Maxx was, weirdly enough. But it's like, come on. Like, 2 of the heads of Cerebus are on the list and not the third one. Give me a break. But yeah, I don't know. We all can do our best. And, you know, I did get a question, not directly to me, but from a listener that had said, you know, why does she care so much about the environment? Like, Taylor Swift has entered the chat with her private plane, all these rich people. And the thing is, like, I guess in order to cope with things that are out of our control, it is still the right thing to do, and like the thing that's going to calm your soul to do what you can. Like, I don't know, have a greener footprint and support the right causes and things like that. It's just more, it's more fulfilling, you know, it makes your life more fulfilling. And it also is like, you can hold on to that little bit of hope that, like, you know, I'm doing this. I see those other girls on the Instagram stories. I know who else is doing it too. No, I'm just kidding. But actually, but seriously, and it's like, you know, maybe like if just me isn't doing this, then it doesn't really make a difference. But if fucking 50 other people I follow on Instagram are doing it, then hopefully there's more people than that. And even still, that increases the green impact of that carbon footprint times 50 if they're all doing the same things or they're all doing their part. I do think it's crazy when I see those challenges that are people are like trying to put all my trash for a week in a mason jar. Because girl, I'm not giving up paper towels. There's one thing that I love in this world. This is actually going to be added to my obsessions as a permanent list member. Bounty paper towels, select a size. I'm sorry, but men have a lot of learning to do. They weren't taught what we were taught in our lives. And Joe, he's so sweet and so pure of heart, and he just wants to save money, and he's, you know, he takes care of those things because I'm like, no, I like this. I'm not changing this thing. I'll spend the money on it. And he bought Market Basket brand paper towels. I was speechless. Actually, I wasn't speechless. I very rarely am, but I just was like, bro, are you fucking kidding me? You know I have one rule, and it's Bounty paper towels only. Because the thing is, like, it might seem like you're saving money, and Joe was like, I was like, listen, we can do it, but the thing is, they don't work as well, and the rolls aren't as big. So I'm going to use these, and you're going to use these twice as fast, or maybe not twice as fast, but faster than we're going to use the Bounty. So is it really that much of a money saver? No. And, like, the other ones always leave fucking, like, lint on everything. You know, the Bounty, I feel like, don't have that much. And it's like, when I'm trying to clean my mirror, I don't want to have paper towel pieces on it. It's like the Charmin Bear's ass on the commercial. I will say my one good news of the week is that I recently saw a friend that had been in a bad accident, and I haven't seen her since then. She looked great. And you know what? It's like, she looked great. She sounded great. She said she was feeling great. And the thing that honestly looked the best about her was that she just was glowing, you know, like she just was so happy and like healthy and everything else. And like, I was like, girl, I love you. I'm so happy that not like you're okay, you know. After I saw her, I literally called my mom and was like, hey, remember that story I told you? Like, I thought you'd like a little bit of good news tonight. She was so happy. It was just nice. You know what I mean? It's always nice to have a good feeling thing. So I guess I'll end on that. But what I'll really end on is this. And one more shout out to my friend Quinn for making this for me, because I am kind of useless at things like this. But here's the outro. Bye, guys. I'll see you on the next one.